Hey guys, Stock Saturday, and I'm dropping the Trading212 share link down below because I believe they're open for just normal invest accounts, not ISAs at the moment, but it's coming, so get free share link if you like. Fairly busy week this week, up about £6,000, which is pretty good, and quite a few changes made. So in the IG account, I have sold off Metalla Royalty and Sandstorm Royalty, both sort of fairly steady gold only royalty companies. So they don't move all that much compared to mining companies because they're just taking a royalty off lots and lots of different mines around the world. So it's a lot less volatile. They don't have the costs to worry about. And I felt silver had sort of fared a little bit worse. Wanted to sort of move that gold money over to silver. So sold both of those and put it all into Pan American. So that's now sort of by far the biggest position. So pretty happy with that. Atalaya Mining have taken quite a hit with copper sort of dropping. It's my sort of only pure copper stock. All the rest of the miners are sort of partly copper, so that's taken a bit of a hit. Sort of very interested in seeing where this goes. Think copper has sort of possibly got further to drop, but I sort of see it as a very long-term decent bet. So I may be wanting to add more sort of as it's dropping. But we'll see. Don't really sort of have funds available in this ISA. But yeah, so other sort of stocks have been largely doing pretty well. Argo up a fair bit. Hive up 20%, I think, this week. Alibaba and Baidu sort of up reasonably well. So kind of across the board, really. Going over to the Trading212 ISA. Fairly big change. So my Sylvania Platinum order went through. So you can see sort of a little bit of a spike on Monday. So that's now a fairly big position. But quite a big change. Sort of got rid of the ARC Pi as such. I was sort of getting very aware that it was becoming a little bit messy and sort of nothing really at all like the current ARC Genomic ETF. So I sort of had some fairly large positions in that basically they hadn't dropped, and sort of some of the others had dropped 90%. I think one had dropped 97%, and sort of a lot of them had since been removed by ARK Invest, by Cathie Wood, and sort of they were still in mine. So yeah, it didn't really. When I checked, I think there was 10 stocks that I owned that were no longer in the ETF. So the whole point of having it really is to sort of put your faith in ARK Invest research. So I decided to sell the whole lot off and buy an ARK Genomic Tracker fund from Leverage Shares. So this will track sort of the daily movements and sort of keep it up to date. So I've got 2,000 in that. Its downside is it's very sort of illiquid. I think maybe the ARK K ones would be a little bit more, but yeah, so I don't even think this has gone down really. It's just sort of 6% straight away from buying. So that's a bit of a shame. And there's also, so you pay 0.75%, I guess, expense ratio for ARK, and then 0.35%, I think, for this. So you're looking at sort of over 1% expense ratio plus the liquidity. But yeah, that means sort of when they buy a small position, then you'll be buying it instantly rather than sort of buying it much later on when you sort of rebalance the pie. So yeah, I thought that was a decent move to make. Yeah, the rest of the sort of portfolio wise, a lot of things are up really. Sort of REITs are doing reasonably well, 10% on American Tower. As I say, Argo Blockchain, 16% for the week. That's doing pretty well. Digital Realty, nearly 10% as well. Silver, as I say, sort of not having a great time of it, so happy to get into Stag. Pan American Silver. Stag doing quite well, 6% for the week. So Realty Income's gone, unfortunately. Would like to get back into it later on. Sylvania has not really moved. Yeah, and Tritax sort of, yeah, the UK REIT's not doing quite as well as the US. So there you go. And my hedge, the 3X NASDAQ ETF is now down quite a bit, 13%. Obviously with these sort of positive moves. Not too bothered about this, of course. Sort of 6,000 up on the portfolio. This is down 200 quid. I don't really think we're sort of out of the woods yet. I think there's a fair bit more downside possibly to come. Another sort of 0.75% interest rate rise next month, and sort of potentially more. I think next month we could get sort of potentially firm news that we're in recession. Could be that is a Q1 and Q2 recession, and when it actually gets announced, we are actually out of it. There's nothing to say that Q3 will actually be negative, but we'll see. I just don't think we've bottomed quite yet, so keeping that. And yeah, looking at the invest account. So on the invest side, sort of made a few changes. The Bristol Myers Squibb, Bank of Nova Scotia, and Seneca Foods positions have finally gone. Sort of thinking they'd done their job. Sort of reasonable profit on those at times like these was pretty good, and they're sort of much higher value than sort of the value stocks that I'm looking at, and sort of very close to sort of other growth stocks like TSMC and sort of various things that I'm looking at really. So yeah, sold off those and have sort of largely kept that as cash. 9,500 in cash at the moment. Had sort of a reasonably up week. Yeah, this is just sort of down because it's me selling things. But yeah, still sort of looking at possibly even Apple to sell. It's not really come down sort of with the other growth stocks, 8% up this week. Still sort of forward PE of about 22, 23, I think. So yeah, they're not growing as far as I can see anything like some of the other sort of growth stocks. Very profitable, obviously, but yeah, not really a terribly high conviction for me. So that may be getting sold off. I nearly sold off eBay, admittedly 8% up in the last week. Largely come sort of in the last day or two, but they've made an investment in an NFT platform, so that kind of piqued my interest, sort of unsurprisingly, being a bit of a crypto bet. So it's obviously not going to make a huge difference to the bottom line, but we'll see. It's not going to go anywhere really, I don't think, with the sort of huge amount of buybacks they're still doing. Yeah, broadly sort of everything else is sort of up about 5% or so, between 5 and 10%. Not the miners, they are sort of down a few percent. So Glencore about 40% copper, whereas sort of Atalaya Mining, my other one, are obviously 100%. So Glencore goes down a little less. But yeah, I kind of think there's maybe sort of more to come down before these sort of begin their long-term uptrend, sort of predicting a copper surplus this year. So sort of reduced demand in a recession and sort of a surplus in production. Then yeah, they could come down a little bit more, but not really wanting to sort of time the bottom. So I probably would be just adding now and accepting that they could be going down a little bit further. May sort of spend that cash in the next sort of week or two. Himax, yeah, not too bad for the week. It's not loading there, but yeah, $9. This is going ex-dividend, I believe, in the next week, so it's going to be coming down to about $7.75, I would have thought. And And then, yeah, I may be looking to top up then. As I say, I don't really want the dividend, so I would wait until it goes ex-dividend. Still thinking of selling off the Japan ETF, but haven't quite yet. Lunar doing pretty well, 11.4% up. Sort of one I was considering buying. Had their earnings, which were pretty good, beat their estimates, but sort of fairly poor outlook, which I think everyone was expecting, but maybe not expecting them to still be beating their current estimates. So, yeah, they've done pretty well. Meta Platforms, 4% up. Sort of, again, was considering buying in the sort of 150s earlier in the week, but sort of didn't pull the trigger. I think probably got a little bit further to fall with advertising spend going down. Micron sort of was tempted in the 55s, but again, I think I'll probably just keep that cash and maybe see what happens in the next week or two and sort of deploy that. I did make a buy of Porsche, just about £1,100. Sort of this has been coming down quite a lot more than Volkswagen over the last sort of little while, which I didn't really understand. They do have some investments in other companies, so they hold like 33% of Volkswagen or 32% of Volkswagen stock, and then they have some sort of other data management and sort of traffic management investments. So yeah, it seems interesting, and sort of Porsche getting IPO'd potentially later this year. Kind of wanted to top up my my Volkswagen investment, but I thought I'd just go for Porsche rather than Volkswagen. And so Rio Tinto, sort of similar to the other miners, really, down a few percent, even though iron ore is not doing all that bad. Shell is a little bit up, back above 7,000. Stellantis up a little, but sort of very tempting to put some of that cash to work in them. Looking pretty good. Not going to hear any sort of results until next month, but look pretty good. TSMC's not really sort of come up all that much, so that's not too bad. Looking to top up that sort of in the next couple of weeks. Tyson Foods, as I say, sort of been doing fairly well, 3% up on the week. Again, sort of forward PE of, well, they're saying, the Yahoo are saying $9 earnings this year and about $8 next year. So sort of predicting a drop back in meat prices, understandably, with sort of presumably the war ending and sort of things just getting back to normal, supply chains getting back to normal. So yeah, I think Tyson maybe sort of might wait for another % or two and then sort of sell that off and be presumably deploying it in miners, semiconductors and house builders. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, interesting. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and like and subscribe. See you soon.